it is unnerving to have to report that there were armed police escorts for electors in multiple states, that there were multiple states in which the electors had to meet effectively in secret locations for their own safety, that we had fake Republican slates of electors trying to present themselves, in one case, to the National Archives as if they were the real electors when they were not. Is this just noise to you, or do you see this as dangerous?
Well, Rachel, I think it was important for the president-elect to address this directly tonight, to talk about the challenges to our democracy that have been posed over the 6 weeks since the election, that were posed today on a number of fronts. But I also think it's important to take a moment and to thank all the people, including a lot of Republican elected officials who stood up for our democracy and who insisted that the will of the people be done. I mean, you know, that scene in Michigan, which you showed earlier, of the Republican electors being turned away at the Capitol door, that was, of course, because of the leadership of the people of Michigan in voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but also the Republican legislators in Michigan turned back an effort by the president to get them to reverse the will of the people. Republican election officials all over the country stood by their counts. Famously in Georgia, we saw the harassment and intimidation of Republican elected officials for trying to stand by the count. So I think, look, I think there are people who are launching an assault on our system. The system so far is working. It has held. I think tonight we're not just celebrating the victory of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, we're celebrating a victory for democracy in getting these electoral votes cast the right way and in reaffirming that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did win the election.
Ron, are you at all worried that January 6th is going to be truly weird? I mean, that is when the Congress will gather to receive the electoral votes, to formally tally them, to make it, to basically put the period on the end of the sentence here. The White House is suggesting that they're going to try to make that as difficult a process as possible. And it seems like some Trump allies in Congress, potentially even Republican senators, may be willing to try to basically muck up that process at the end and make it not work. Are you prepared for that, or do you have expectations around that?
Well, of course, we're prepared for that, Rachel. We've been prepared for every step in this process as it's moved forward. Look, I was heartened tonight to see a number of senior Republican senators, even members of the Republican Senate leadership, come out tonight and acknowledge that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had won. I think the dam broke on that tonight. We saw people who hadn't said anything before finally acknowledge this victory. So President Trump is going to be President Trump. He is not going to change. He hasn't changed in 4 years. He is not going to change in the final 36 days. But I think the system is working. We're getting towards that inauguration date on January 20th. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be ready. They're picking a cabinet. They're setting their policies in place. They're doing their part. And I have confidence that on January 6th, the Electoral College tally will reflect the votes cast today, making Joe Biden and Kamala Harris the next president and vice president of the United States.